A warm welcome to Revenge of Love Tales. We appreciate each one of you being here. Before we begin, we'd love to know which corner of the globe are you watching from. Share with us in the comments. Now let's dive into today's story. I'd like to share my experience dealing with a challenging situation involving my mother-in-law, Margot. I must preface this by acknowledging that this topic might be sensitive for some. And I apologize if it offends anyone. Margot has exhibited clear signs of racism, particularly towards individuals with a different skin color than hers. Unfortunately, this has become evident in her treatment of me, her daughter-in-law. To provide some background, I am a 28-year-old woman, married to my long-term boyfriend, Caleb, whom I met during our post-graduation at a management college. I am of Indian origin, but was born and raised in Boston, while Caleb is a white American. Ethnicity became a concern. When Caleb and I got serious about our relationship, Margot, my mother-in-law, have reservations about our union due to this difference. Despite her initial attempts to appear accepting, her true feelings of disdain were palpable. She would make comments about my ethnicity, emphasizing that it was the color of my skin that bothered her. Initially, during our dating phase, she seemed less aggressive about her disapproval. However, as the years passed and she witnessed our commitment to each other, her discomfort grew. She would openly address me using derogatory terms, even in the presence of Caleb. This negativity escalated when Caleb began discussing our future together. Margot's animosity extended beyond verbal remarks to mocking me, directly criticizing everything from my choice of clothing to personal habits. Despite being as American as she is, she consistently categorized white Americans as us, and we, while referring to people of color as they. Eventually, Caleb reached a point where he stopped visiting his family during festivities and special occasions due to Margot's behavior. While I valued family connections, I couldn't be happy with Caleb cutting ties, as I cherished my own family deeply. Initially hesitant about marrying into a family where I felt unwelcome, Caleb helped me understand the importance of setting boundaries and ensuring that our choices were respected. Even though my parents shared my concerns, Caleb's father emerged as a supportive figure, assuring my parents that I would be loved and respected in the family. Despite Margot's disapproval, Caleb's father emphasized that the decision to marry someone should be his, urging her to respect his choices and back off. I anticipated that she would cause a disruption at my wedding, but thankfully everything went smoothly. Prior to the event, I was quite stressed, but my father and mother-in-law assured me they would handle her. And they did. She behaved courteously with my parents and guests, leading me to believe she had moved beyond my skin color and accepted me, to my surprise. However, she seemed stuck on that issue in an effort to minimize interaction with her. What a stance ourselves. Nevertheless, my father-in-law continued to visit regularly, and I developed a strong bond with him. Margot, on the other hand, proved to be persistent. Despite our decision to stop visiting her, she started showing up at our house unannounced. Eventually, we felt obligated to host her, considering she was Caleb's mother and we couldn't be rude. What bothers me most is that every time she visits, she inquires about our family planning. I tried evading the question, claiming we haven't thought about it yet, but her response is always a vague "good." I'm unsure whether she wants us to have children or not, and it's become increasingly difficult to interpret her intentions. I approached Caleb about this, but he dismissed it, insisting she's merely curious. The problem is she never brings up the topic in front of him, making it challenging to convey the discomfort I feel from her body language and tone. It's more than just a general inquiry, and I find it unsettling. Recently, during her visit, I caught her searching through my bedside table drawer. It was a bizarre and creepy incident. I was occupied with a client call and informed her it would take about 45 minutes. She seemed fine with it. But when I later discovered the call had ended prematurely, I went to look. For her, she had disappeared upon returning to the study to retrieve my phone. I heard scrambling noises from my bedroom. Caleb wasn't home at the time, and upon entering the room, I found Margot near my bedside table, frantically searching through the drawer. Startled by my presence, she claimed to be looking for a vaporizer due to a cold. I offered her own, but she didn't use it, insisting she would check with my doctor later. Strangely, she didn't exhibit any signs of illness during her stay, making me recall previous instances where I had noticed my closet tampered with and my belongings displaced. Until now, I hadn't paid much attention to those occurrences. Looking back, I can't ignore the fact that during most of Margot's visits, she was at my house. It seems Too frequent, Toby. A mere coincidence. The problem is, while it's concerning, I can't bring myself to tell Caleb. It's not that he wouldn't understand, but to him it doesn't seem creepy that his mother was searching for a vaporizer in my drawer. I lack enough evidence to prove my observations, and I'm unclear about what she's even up to. Any advice on how to deal with this? Do you foresee anything? I just want to be alert before I'm caught off guard. Update. Number 1. Hey everyone, thanks for helping me break down Margot's intentions. If it weren't for you guys, I would have taken forever to figure out what she's up to. I made a list of all the possible things Margot could be behind, and the top assumption that made the most sense was a baby. I connected the dots, considering how she used to ask about having children and then started searching through my bag, closet, and drawer. She must be checking if we use protection, finding them in any of these places, and being reassured that we're not planning children yet. I know it's common for grandparents to expect grandchildren, but in that case, she could have asked us to plan instead of sneaking around. These were my assumptions, and as soon as you suggested it, I started playing around with her to confirm my doubts. I hid my pills and his protection in a different place, not accessible to her. I was careful with my bag and closet when she visited my home. Also, I started playing with my words while talking to her the next time she asked if we were planning a baby. I blushed and said, "Yeah, we're kind of planning." The expected reaction should have been a positive one, but hers was, "No way, it's too early. You guys should enjoy your life first. The baby can wait." I've never heard a mother-in-law say this. It wasn't even advice, it was more of an instruction. Currently, I'm just enjoying this drama, teasing her that we're planning for a baby and relishing her reaction. I know it's a concern that she doesn't want us to have a baby, and I don't know why, or maybe I do. I'll probably update you when I have more details about her intentions. This was just a quick update for everyone to have a good laugh. Thanks to those who have been checking on my last post update. Number 2. Hey guys, this is gonna be a longer one. I finally figured out Margot's intention behind all these creepy activities after a month of teasing her that we were planning for a baby. She finally spoke out one day. She visited us, and Caleb was also home. We were 3 sitting together. I said, "Zach, do. You know, Mom had been insisting me not to have children." Now Caleb was like, "What?" Margot also turned pale. Caleb asked her why she would suggest that, and in short of words, I said, "Mom thinks that we should enjoy our life more, and children would just destroy our peace and privacy." Mind you, Caleb loves children. It was I who was pushing the plan of the baby to the next year. Caleb wanted it now. Margot tried to cover up and say, "Yes, I was suggesting it for your own well-being. Enjoy your youth." Caleb said he had enjoyed enough, and now he wanted a baby. You know, I could have informed Caleb about it earlier, but the joy of having a face-to-face confrontation was too tempting. It led to a heated argument between Caleb and Margot, escalating to the point where she turned aggressive. Margot asserted that if we truly wanted to have a baby, we should opt for traditional surrogacy. She justified this suggestion by claiming that pregnancy is difficult for women, citing her business and career as factors that would be adversely affected. According to her, not only would my work be impacted, but Caleb's business would also suffer because he would have to take care of me. She insisted that we could afford surrogacy and encouraged us to go for it. I was perplexed. I knew she couldn't be genuinely kind and considerate. Her suggestion of surrogacy wasn't about our work and well-being. Caleb, in response, remained calm, agreeing to consider the idea. Margot, thinking that we were immediately planning for a baby, showed up a few days later. This time she deliberately checked Caleb's availability, claiming she had something important to discuss. To my surprise, she brought a list of top places providing surrogacy facilities and had shortlisted women offering surrogacy, as if that wasn't enough. She also had a list of female egg donors, shortlisting 2 with the best genetic features. Caleb and I were taken aback. I used a punching bag to calm my nerves while Caleb lost his temper, yelling at her for being nosy in our lives. He firmly stated that it wasn't their business to interfere in our lives. Margot insisted that her motive was well-intentioned, but I continued to probe. I questioned the need for an egg donor. This to Caleb's notice. A few days later, she sent the sorry card to Caleb, but he refused to speak to her, despite her attempts to mend the relationship. He remained firm. She even visited his office with flowers, but Caleb did not forgive her. She's now trying to fix her relationship with Caleb by being extra sweet to me, but she hasn't apologized to him in reality. She had belittled and offended me Fortunately, Caleb defended Mess so firmly that I didn't need to intervene. I hope she learns her lesson. Refrains from interfering in our personal life. I'll keep you updated. If anything develops, update number 3. Guys, Margot doesn't seem to have learned her lesson. I apologize for not updating. This often due to my hectic schedule, but I appreciate the supportive space here. I feel safe sharing these events with you. Following the confrontation, Caleb ceased communication with his mom despite her attempts to reach out. He remained silent. Margot resorted to sobbing to my father-in-law, expressing remorse for her words and expressing a desire to mend. Everything my father-in-law, a principal family man, holds significant respect from all of us. He reached out to Caleb, urging him to forgive Margot. Caleb, influenced by his father's values, forgave his mother, but established a firm boundary against her interference in our lives. Margot pledged not to meddle, expressing guilt and a desire to spend time with us to cope. Although Caleb and I spent minimal time at home due to work parties or vacations we allowed. Late Tuesday, amid discussions about children, Caleb and I decided to start planning for a baby immediately. Despite our efforts, my cycles came and went with no positive results. After 3 or 4 cycles of trying concerned, we consulted a doctor, repeating tests for genetic issues and psychological barriers, but nothing surfaced. The doctor advised us to keep trying for at least a year. A visit to a fertility counselor revealed the challenges some women face after years of trying, providing a glimmer of hope. While Margot lived with us, she did not intrude, and I kept the fertility struggles from her, attributing my stress to work as therapy proved ineffective. I stumbled upon something suspicious. Margot tampering with my morning juice. I witnessed it and confirmed my suspicion. With my maid's involvement, I promptly disposed of the juice and realized that the lack of side effects indicated a connection to my birth control pills. I refrained from eating or drinking anything separately and considered revealing this to Caleb. Lacking evidence, I consulted a doctor friend who suggested avoiding revenge at that point and instead recommended distancing myself from Margot. She requested me to assure Margot that I was opting for traditional surrogacy due to my alleged inability to produce healthy eggs. I insisted on a written report, but she claimed she couldn't risk her career. Despite this, she created a fake report under her name and location stating that I was not fertile enough to produce eggs. Returning home, I showed it to Margot. Feigning tears and distress, I conveyed that the doctor suggested surrogacy, and she appeared delighted. I asked her not to inform Caleb because he wouldn't agree to using someone else's genes for our baby, making her my ally. We both started looking for doctors and surrogate mothers. Margot, however, urged me to continue the search as she had to return to her husband. She insisted on finding gorgeous white women as donors once she left. I confronted the maid about the birth control pill incident tearfully. She confessed to Margot's instructions, but he recorded her admission. I didn't fire her because she was bribed by Margot, threatening to report her to the police if she revealed this to Margot. Now that Margot's not around, I'm hoping to conceive naturally. I'll update you when I have time. Thanks for checking in. Update number 4. Starting with good news. We're expecting twins in February. I know it's a late update. Blame my pregnancy exhaustion conceiving on the first cycle after Margot left Caleb and I. We're overjoyed upon seeing the positive results. Our happiness doubled upon seeing our twins on the ultrasound, insisting on keeping the pregnancy a secret until the first trimester was over. I explained to Caleb about Margot's actions. I played the recorded confession for him, and he was furious, but chose not to fire the maid. We minimized conversations with Margot occasionally, updating her on our surrogacy progress, claiming we had put a halt on it about a month ago. It was Margot and father-in-law's 30th anniversary, and they organized a huge celebration. I proposed using the occasion to announce our pregnancy, as I was about to complete the 3rd month after the cake cutting. During the toasts, Caleb and I announced our family of 2 was soon becoming a family of 4, presenting 3D images of our twins. People showered us with love and blessings. Margot assumed we were pregnant through Surrogacy, so her reaction was subdued. Later, she asked why I hadn't informed her about the Surrogacy. I suggested discussing it after the party, and once the celebration ended, we gathered as close family members. Margot questioned why I wasn't drinking and demanded to see a picture of the egg donor to examine her facial features in response. I tightened my dress to reveal my tiny baby bump. Margot, taken aback, lost her composure, yelling and hurling insults at me. Caleb intervened, urging her to stop, but she proceeded to disclose all our conversations about infertility and surrogacy. Standing there quietly, I felt the weight of her revelations. Caleb played the confession recording. For everyone leaving my father-in-law furious to learn about Margot's malicious actions to prevent my pregnancy in her defense. Margot expressed her reluctance to see a brown child in her family, causing an uproar among Caleb's extended family. Shouting and yelling ensued primarily between Margot and the others present, including Caleb's uncle, brother-in-law, and his wife. Margot continued making outrageous statements, and I couldn't hold back my tears any longer. My father-in-law sternly warned Margot that if she spoke one more word against me, he would divorce her. Caleb asserted that she'd done enough harm and banned her from our home and future children. Margot left the house, portraying herself as the victim, claiming nobody understood her. My father-in-law and others consoled and apologized to me for Margot's behavior, despite his apologies. My father-in-law expressed regret for failing to keep Margot in check. Caleb and I decided to take a short trip to help me cope with Margot's wrath and the impact on my mental state due to pregnancy hormones. During the trip, I cried uncontrollably, but it eventually aided in my emotional recovery. Despite Margot's attempts to contact Caleb and apologize, he remained adamant about not allowing her in during the pregnancy phase. We couldn't trust her, fearing she might disturb me. Mentally, I wanted to focus on being happy and enjoying my pregnancy. Thank you all for the love and blessings. Please wish me a healthy pregnancy. I'm not surprised that the mother-in-law was cut off towards the end of the story, and the father-in-law gave a strict warning. If she continued with her behavior, he would divorce her. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this story. Feel free to share your comments below. Thank you for your support, and I hope you have a fantastic day.